G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well look, we're going to do a little clip over on the Massey Ferguson 135 Multipower tractor. Now this is our little tractor we're going to get ready for doing road runs and do some big long distance ones hopefully at some stage. But this fuel tank, it's got a big dent in it here where it's been crushed with a tree or a branch I suppose, it's fallen over it. Now, we do have a new brand spanking new fuel tank here, which we're going to put on it, but at this stage, all we're going to do, the main part of this video, is we're just going to do the tappet settings, the valve clearance on this little 3-cylinder Perkins. It's an AD3152, so direct injection, 152 cubic inch Perkins engine. So we're not going to use this tank again, so we can just leave the fuel turned off. Now there's a little tap underneath there and that's easy enough to do. And with these tanks it's just a matter of undoing a couple of pipes, and a couple of pipes here, one that goes down onto the inlet manifold and a few other bits and pieces, and the tank's off. So I probably won't dwell on taking the tank off so much as on as in setting the tappets or doing the rockers, and that's just got the tap turned off on the tank. So I'll pull this tank off, and look, it's only a matter of a couple of bolts at the back here. There's 2 at the back plus a couple of little pipes, and the tank will come off, and it won't take us too long at all. But look, I'll come back, I'll keep working away here, and I'll come back into frame once the tank's gone or just ready to lift off. So not much to that part, and even the just while I've been talking to you now, there's the battery bracket off, and this little pipe, he needs to pop out of the way, and you can't actually see that. So look, I'll take this off and I'll come back. Okay, look, we've got the tank off and we've given it a bit of a blow just so we're not introducing any more rubbish into the system. And to get the tappet cover off these, it's only a matter of undoing these 2 nylon lock nuts. And they're a nylon lock nut, they're 5/16 UNF, so a 1/2 inch spanner fits them. That there was loose, and you can see a bit of a shadow around the tappet cover here, and that's a fair indication that it's been leaking. So we'll just pop these off if we can. Now I'll get a little screwdriver, we'll undo this breather pipe down there, we don't need that there. We'll just come in from here and there is a little bolt on the front of the timing cover that holds that in place, so we'll just loosen that nut off, and that'll let us get the breather pipe further forward, just out of the way a little bit. That'd be plenty. That pipe will replace. Now we also have an air cleaner hose here, and it's all cracked, you can see it's buggered, so at this time we'll probably pop that off as well and get ready to put a new one on. And then we come around here and we should. Now they've got like a steel washer, and underneath it's like a plastic washer, a fibre washer. So this is actually where I use silicone as well. I don't use silicone often, but that's a good place to use silicone. And there's our rocker cover off. Now first up, when you pull a rocker cover off, don't touch anything, just have a look. Use your eyes. Is there anything there that's not as it should be, you don't think? Make sure the oil pipe's there, it's nice and tight. The oil feed is good. Just check the rocker bolts are all tight. Nice and easy to look at here. And in this instance, I'll wipe my hand on my pants for a minute. Look, the oil's lovely and clean. So I know this engine runs well. When I bought it, I've done my slashing with it, my topping a few times without a worry at all. We're going to replace this gasket. We're not going to use that again, so we can take that out of the way now. Okay, we'll get set up and we'll run through how we do the tappets. Okay, now on the backing plate of the bell housing, on the left hand side as you sit on the seat, there's a little rubber plug, and you can pull a little rubber plug out and that gives you a mark for the timing. But look, in this tractor, this is a Multipower. You can just see the little black line in the hole there now, and this being a Multipower, it actually has a filter right there in the road, and it's a real bugger to see. And I've found a little Bunnings light that I've put there and all that just to try and show you, but I can't actually film in there without taking everything off. So look, you can look for top dead centre there, or else we can just go up the top, and if we know how an engine works and the firing order, we can work it out from there. Okay, we can't really see our timing marks down the bottom there real well, so there's other ways of doing things. Now, I believe the firing order is 1, 2, 3 on these, but we should be able to turn the engine over by hand on the fan here and actually work that out. So we'll give it a bit of a turn. Now this is an inlet valve, exhaust, exhaust, inlet, inlet, exhaust. So this is number 1. So on a 4-stroke engine, it's intake, compression, power, exhaust. So when we see the intake valve go through its cycle when we're going in the right direction, well then we know once we get to the top we should be coming up on compression. So we'll try the factory setting at 12. Oh, that's beautiful. That one's a little bit tight. So we'll run through. I think this one feels like around 10 now. That's 10. Yeah, so that's a bit tight. So okay, we've got to have a fiddle there. I'm just trying to try and see if I can see our timing mark lining up in there as well. There it is. Okay, so we've watched the valve do its travel. We've gone through here and watched the inlet valve open. Now, I've just had a look down at the hole there. I can see that mark, but I can't actually film it for you. So now would be the time to check our settings, and they shouldn't have changed from where we were before. And the inlet's sitting nicely on 12, and the exhaust I believe was on 10. So we're actually going to adjust them. I'm going to make them both 10. So we'll find that. We'll go and find a narrow spanner. I have one here. I should have had it ready. Okay, so normally I'd stand around this side, but because the camera's there, I'll work across the engine. So with number 1, the timing mark on number 1 lining up, we can set these two and this one, and we can't set those because they're not sitting up the top where they should be. So we can do 1, 2, 3, then miss the rest. And you can actually feel the movement there. Then if we do 1 full turn of the crankshaft, we should be able to do 1, 2, 3, and we don't have to worry about those ones. So okay, let's drop a spanner in here. Let's see if we can just loosen the lock nut. There we go. Okay, then like I said, I'm going to set them at 10. I'll hold that in place. Just a little looser. There we go. Okay, and we've got 2 thin spanners here. I should be able to lock this bottom one down. Okay. Now I've got this spanner here. It's just on the cam follower just to stop that moving. And once we have this in the right position, we have to hold the nut up here, then lock the lock nut. Now that's moved a little bit, but I haven't nipped the lock nut up really tight, so I can still move that just. So we've got a little bit of crimp on the nut, but it's not locked up all the way. But it puts back pressure on that nut for us. There we go, that feels good. So now I should be able to hold the top, hold this bottom right around here, hold the top, and without letting anything turn, just nip that lock nut up and recheck it. Yep, that's good. Okay, we'll do this fella here. So to start with, we just unlock the lock nut. Just a little bit so we can turn it. Check that we're still on number 10, 10th there, yep. So it's a little bit of a juggling act here just to get the lock nut firm enough that you can just turn the top that little bit. And needs to come off just a little. Okay, so if we nip that nut up, that feels good. That feels good. Okay, this fella. Need to go a bit more yet. There's not much in it, there's just a it's just too tight. Need to lock that lock nut up a bit. That one was just moving a little. A little bit loose, yeah. That feels good, so we'll try and hold everything in place. And lock that lock nut up. So that feels a little loose again now. just too tight again. Come on. Sometimes you can just tweak them a little too. Just like that. No, I'm still not happy with that. We'll just go a little more. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay, so we've done 1, 2, 3. So now if we go one full turn with the crankshaft, we should be able to do the back 3. So we can turn the engine over and look in the hole where the timing mark is down the side there. Okay, these are all, we've gone round a turn on the crank and now we can do these back 3. So let's see what we have. And they're all tight. Actually, that one's pretty good. I might just give that a little tweak, this one. Certainly doesn't need much. Probably one of those things I'll think I'm tweaking it and I'm bloody putting it out of the park. Okay, that's good. Okay, where are we? Just a bit much. Well, we've done the tappets. We run out of battery at the very last, so you might have missed a couple here. But anyway, you will have seen the general gist of it. Now, we have our tappet cover gasket here, our rocket cover gasket. I'm using a Sparex one, an S40631. Now, are they any better, any worse than anything else? Who knows? I doubt it. They're a cork gasket. and they sit down, it would have to be that way there. Okay, so we know that's the top now. So what I like to do here, we know that's the top. We pop him on there like that. Then we get some bear glue, some contact cement. We just do a run on one side with that, put it aside to go tacky. On the rocker cover, we make sure that's nice and clean. Do the same. Now, that would sit that way. You should probably let that go a little bit tackier first. But look, this is what I like to do. We might just let that go a little bit tackier. It hasn't gone. It doesn't take long for it to go off, but there we go, that's feeling better already. Make sure it just sits down in place here. There's little tin guides around the tappet cover, so we make sure we're either inside or outside of those, whichever way we have to be. We'll just let that sit. I'll go and get a little bit of grease. Now it doesn't matter what sort of grease. And the idea of this is, if we get out bush somewhere and we've got to pop the tappet cover off for any particular reason, we're not going to wreck the gasket. The gasket's going to come off nicely with the tappet cover. It's going to sit up there in place well, and on this other side it's going to come away easily. And by gluing it onto the tappet cover gasket or the rocker cover gasket here like we're doing, it'll come away on one side, and it also, the gasket won't move on us either, so that should be stuck enough. We can pop the tappet cover on. I'll have to have a look around that side. Look, we can see the gasket all the way around there, so we know it hasn't moved. We don't need to bolt it down tight yet. I'll just take that. So for the moment, that gasket will just stay there where we like it to. And They're our little screws, our little washers that go up on the top there. Now for the moment, I'll just nip them up a little. I'm going to take them off once more. And I might actually get a couple of new nylon lock nuts for here. That's just to hold a little bit of pressure there. And it looks like I've dropped one of the nuts. So I might have to have a look and find that by the looks of things. Oh, I can't see it. But anyway, look, the main thing at this stage is just to let that settle. I will find new lock nuts for here, and once we find the new lock nuts, we'll silicone the tappet cover on, or these nuts here, we'll silicone them on correctly. I just want to hold just a little bit of pressure down on just a little bit down on the rocker cover, and that glue will set and we're done. So for the moment, I've got to find another piece of hose here. So for the moment, we'll call that done. Until I have to go to town and buy these bolts, so I can't do that. So we'll call this job completed. We've done the tappets on the 6-speed, on the Multipower tractor, on the Tractor tractor. So we won't put the tank back on yet. There's a couple of things I'd like to do, like check the thermostat, replace the radiator hoses. We actually have to pull the whole front end off. So that's your AD3152 rocker set. We'll move on to something else.